the Forgotten Youth podcast brought to you by Upward Intuition. I am Andy Prince. That is John Shell. And we have a very special guest, Miss Laura Branch. And first question is, John, why are we doing a podcast?
Andy, that's a great question. So this is actually our 10th year of Upward Intuition. We got started in 2015 with the goal of kind of spearheading this public skate park in our city, which now is the Blake Doyle Skate Park across the street. So we have been planning this event actually for November to kind of celebrate what we've done these last 10 years, really thank the donors, invite everyone out that supported us in any way, whether it was buying a t-shirt, contributing financially. I mean, there's all sorts of different ways, kids doing car washes and things like that. And we actually got started working with our good friend Grant Tyson on a short film that we're going to share at this event that kind of highlights the last 10 years, talks about what we're doing now, and really trying to like cast this vision for the next 3, 5, 10, 20 years. And we figured rather than going around and pointing a camera at people and interviewing a bunch of different people, we thought it would be more natural to just sit down with them here at the office and kind of get to understand why they wanted to be involved, what it means to them, and whatever else we may uncover.
Yeah, I have to say too, I think this is a great way. I mean, it's not like we just want to have a podcast to have another podcast, but we have to disseminate our information online and using social media to let people know what we're up to, because we have so many projects we're working on in the future. And it's hard to just tell everybody. And we have to time it right, because we want to make sure that we have things in place and before we address the public with it. So this is the way to do it. And I want to start with our special guest, Miss Laura Branch. This is our new executive director at Upward Intuition, and I kind of want to tell the story of how you got involved with us. So
yeah. Thank you guys both today. This past 3 months has been absolutely epic with Upward Intuition. I mean, them reaching out and saying, hey, we want you on our team, like, whoa. A short version of the story was Eric Hubley, one of the directors on the Upward Intuition board, who I had worked with through AMI Kids for a few years. He approached me and said, hey, would you be interested? And it was probably 6 months prior to accepting this position. And Eric's a lieutenant at the police department, and you don't say no to a cop, right? So came out here, had a few conversations, met the board, and, learned about the almost 8-year process to bring Blake Doyle Skate Park here. I mean, you guys got to come out and see it. If you haven't, please come out and see it. If you're not a skater, bring your kids, bring a blanket. I mean, enjoy the sun. There's people out there doing yoga, taking walks with their babies, grinding on rails. It's amazing. And I don't have any background in skateboarding. Probably wouldn't want me to step on a board.
We're working on that.
Yeah. One day I'll get a lesson. But truly, my background comes from working in the marketing world and nonprofits. And specifically here in Pensacola, when I moved here in 2016, I got involved with AMI Kids. And that's an organization that really provides kids ages 16 to 24 with a second chance. They have probably dropped out of high school for various reasons, and not necessarily the reasons that you would expect. A lot of them just didn't fit in traditional school. Super smart kids, maybe their family life wasn't conducive to their success in high school. So they come to AMI Kids and we give them GED training. We give them vocational training. They can get carpentry licenses and really a second chance, job connections, interview skills, a chance to make money. We pay them to come every day to school. So anyways, throughout my work with AMI kids, I'd really grown passionate about just youth in Escambia County. If you know anything about Pensacola, Escambia County as a whole, you know that the graduation rates are very poor. Probably the top lowest 5 in the entire country. And the sad thing is, right next door in Santa Rosa County, they are in the top 5. You know, their graduation rates are great. Their school system is really well known. People move there for the school system. And so when I heard about Upward Intuition and what they're doing for kids here, I thought, isn't that the perfect partnership? And we've even gotten some of the AMI kids involved with Upward Intuition. I've gone off on a long spiel, but maybe you can speak to some of the events that you did with AMI kids.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting into here as well is, you know, you've been so beneficial to help get us organized, but also the past organizations that you've worked with, now you're putting us in touch with these people. AMI Kids being one of them, they've helped us with our events. The kids are awesome. What is the name of the leader out there that is like this giant intimidating guy? He's so good.
It's Jonathan Wiggins.
Yeah, he's so awesome.
He's the executive director.
Thank you so much to that organization for helping us with our events. I mean, they helped us move barricades, and they were just like fascinated by the skateboarding. And, you know, we want to be more involved in the future with them as well. But Laura has got us in touch with some people that we've done clinics with at the skate park recently, one being Independence for the Blind. And the other one being Wild Oak Academy. And I guess you can kind of speak on what you saw at those events. Yeah.
So Independence for the Blind was a super unique, surprising connection. And I cannot emphasize enough how meaningful it was for us as an organization. I think there were smiles all around, but our hearts were bursting because we saw these kids, majority of them are not 100% blind, but they're going progressively blind and working on skills that will help them as they grow more progressively blind. And, you know, the resiliency in those kids, I'm going to see this through, it was amazing, so impactful.
For us too. I mean, it's not like we had any training to work with, you know, visually impaired kids. And so we were thrust into it like, we're going to do our best to teach them how to skate. And it was like really surprising how willing they were to try. And if you know, a lot of them were like dropping in by the end of it, and we you know, hold their hands and get them to get a feel for the course, because some of them, like you said, were completely blind, and then the other ones were visually impaired. But there was one kid in particular I worked with that was completely blind, and I got, you know, me and him went down in the bowl, and he just wanted to go back and forth. And you could just tell, like, when he was feeling that, it's like he would be squealing with joy when we would go up and then go back down. And it was like, it was just super impactful. And then one kid, there's a video of you helping. There's like 3 people around one guy that's rolling through the park, and it's just like, he could not be any happier. And I was like, this is what we do. Like, this is the coolest, most, it's simple, but it's like, it is, you know, it gave us a whole new projection forward too. Like, we build skate spots, and we're trying to figure out how to help, you know, promote skateboarding in our community. But this is a direct example of why we do what we do, because those kids, I also had a friend of mine, Nick Mullins, that I had call in. He is someone that lost his vision. He was an incredibly good skateboarder. There's a whole documentary online about him. And he called in when we were all here in this office together to all the kids and kind of told his story. And he gave up at one point, and now he just keeps getting better and better at skateboarding. And watching him, he mainly skates a mini ramp, but he absolutely rips. And for those kids as well, it gives them the opportunity to, like, skateboarding is a viable option for someone like that. There's different ways to learn it. There's different adaptive skaters out there that represent, like, hey, this is possible for you too. So That was absolutely incredible. Then there's the Wild Oak kids.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was a month-long program where we did it once a week.
Yeah.
And
they all kept coming back.
they yeah, by choice. We did, you know, their teacher, that program's awesome in general, but, you know, we started with 1 week and brought them to Waterboy Skate Park because it was raining, and then kind of give them the basics, figured out if John had a funny way of figuring out if they're goofy or regular.
Yeah.
Taught them what that meant. And then from there, some of them barely could stand on a skateboard. They were just wobbling around, slipping out. And then by the 4th week, they were at Blake Doyle Skate Park, and we had 5 of the students out of almost 20 people drop in on their own.
Amazing.
And it was insane because that took me so long to learn. Like, I didn't have anyone holding my hand and kind of giving me, you know, guidance, but they, you know, we basically told them the basics but by the end of it, they figured out they could do it on their own. And that was cool to see because once they figured out they had the confidence and kind of got over the fear of that, they don't want your help anymore. Right. They're like, I want to go skate that. I want to go skate this and have the freedom to do what I want. And so that was a perfect example of just having autonomy and freedom in real time, you know, with proved through skateboarding. Yeah. Plus overcoming your fears and all there's all these life lessons in there that were just like we're witnessing it in real time. So we obviously want to do more and more stuff like that in the future. So thank you for connecting with, you know,
absolutely.
us with those organizations.
And there's not a lot of studies out there on skateboarding, you know, peer-reviewed studies, but I was reading one the other day and it was talking about the skills. If you ask a skateboarder what they believe that they can do or what skateboarding has taught them, you nailed it. Like, it's confidence, being able to see something through and being able to work with others or learning from others. Yep. So those are skills that anybody can use for the rest of their lives, I think. And I know I've learned them, and I'm not even a skater, just watching y'all. Yeah.
We try to emphasize too that, you know, what they showed them what we do. We build skate parks. We didn't know anything about how to do that when we were kids. But if they want to see change in their community, they can advocate for themselves and other people, and they have the power to do that. And regardless of their age, even now, kids can get involved with their community. So there's no, you know, it's like, don't let anyone tell you you're too young to do something, or your voice isn't important. So it's funny because like I said, I had no training going into there. Like, I'm not a teacher. I don't have any program, but it just naturally worked out. It's like we knew what to do once they got here. I was nervous at first because the counselors and the teachers are looking at us like, okay, why are we here?
Yeah. What are we doing?
It ended up being incredible. So,
yep. Okay. I can remember going into that clinic with Independence for the Blind. Like, we've never worked with blind students before. We don't know a lot of blind people in general. You know, what do we do? And we didn't have a lot of training beforehand. But we said, we're going to do our best, and our best, proved to be enough that day. And those kids they said, do we have to go home? We could say, well, come back, come back.
Also, thank you to Waterboys by providing helmets and rental boards. It's something that we're raising money for in the future to be able to provide our own and have our own skateboards. This is why we always reach out to the community and are asking for help to buy things like that so we can run these programs and have the gear to do it, amongst the million other things that we need funding for. So I want to get into that too. John, I want to talk about the process of Blake Doyle and then transition into what we're doing now, kind of your experience.
Yeah, so I think this kind of like dovetails nicely with talking about Independence for the Blind, AMI Kids, Wild Oak Academy. So we set out, we really wanted to like solve a problem. And the problem I saw was, we kind of coined this demographic, forgotten youth. And I felt like those were the kids that maybe the city didn't provide programming or have, opportunities and amenities for. And I feel like that's kind of what you and I were as skaters. The city and the county has all sorts of opportunities. If you're a swimmer, tennis player, basketball player, lacrosse, basketball, you name it.
Yep.
But there's this big
Traditional
demographic
sports, yeah.
of kids that skate, or maybe they're musicians or they're artists. And I feel like they were kind of forgotten. So wrote this series of blog posts called Forgotten Youth. So I went away for school and lived out of town for a few years and noticed all these public skate parks popping up all around the country. I would come back here and just be so frustrated to still see this skate scene and not having a place for the kids to go. And meanwhile, we're seeing kids that we grew up with, become adults and kind of, having this sense, knowing deep down they're good people, they're good kids, but they kind of took a turn in life that, maybe they ended up in prison or making bad decisions. Or so I started wondering, I wonder if that's because they didn't have a place to belong. They didn't have like a role model or a coach. I'm not saying we want to be coaches, but we want to be there for these kids, whether they're, visually impaired or whoever, and just let them know that there's somebody there that cares and values them and give them opportunities to, make a difference in their community. So wrote these blog posts, kind of outlining the need for a public space. And then when I started, I didn't know that I would kind of become the one spearheading it. Started raising a little bit of funds, and we started working on a documentary that was actually called Forgotten Youth, that we premiered at the Rex Theater in April 2015, big fundraising event. And come to find out, you have to have a 501c3 to really raise funds. So we really created Upward Intuition by necessity because we wanted to, to see this skate park come to fruition. Super long process, but it was very valuable. I learned so much. It was such a blessing for me. And, you guys were talking about what skateboarding is. And to me, one way I would describe it is what you do is you overcome obstacles. You learn how to overcome obstacles and try something over and over again until it finally clicks and you get it. And those skills taken into life, I think, are invaluable because you learn determination, you learn tenacity, to not give up, whether you have to go over, under, through, you're going to find a way. It was like you last night trying that frontside flip over and over and over and over up the Euro gap until you finally got it. So like if you apply that to like a business or career or any number of things in life, I think those skills are just valuable. So
when you're in the office with John, you get these little quotes, and one day he said to me, "The obstacle is the way," and I was like, wow, that's profound. But it hasn't left me.
It's a Ryan Holiday book, but
yeah,
it's interesting that like that. I think maybe that is the way, and that's the way for personal development and growing as a human. You do something hard, you pick up something heavy and carry it. And this whole process was such a blessing for me. It gave me so many different opportunities. I learned so many things. So now that we have this, large regional park, we want to build these smaller, safe places for people to skate throughout the city. And so not only do we want to give them, a safe place to go and just belong, but we want them to be a part of it. So I want all those opportunities and blessings I experienced from spearheading this project. Like I want to go and give that to these kids. And I think, it gives, it gave me purpose and direction and, something to work towards. And I think a lot of kids, could use that. And really with the skate park over there, the group of kids that started out helping us push for the park and doing car washes and things like that, watching them go from 8 years old to, 16, 17 years old, watching them grow up and really speak at council meetings, do car washes, asking for, gifts, skate park gifts instead of a birthday gift and things like that. They got to understand how something like that works. And I think seeing is believing. And so they got to see this process. And so now they know that they can make a real impact in their own backyard and, maybe even beyond.
Yeah. I have to say something about that time too, because for a portion of when you were advocating for Blake Doyle and working with the city, you were in pictures with all these city council members. You were wearing suits at times. And I remember you just getting flack for it from like the skate community of like, oh, here's corporate John trying to be like the mayor of Pensacola. And from a skater's perspective, it does look that way. But meanwhile, it's like you were doing what was necessary to get things done. Mm-hmm. And it's just funny, the misconception of like, what you're representing. It's like, I'm playing the game so I can build a skate park for you guys because I love skateboarding too. And I've seen you take some flack over the years, and I just credit you for like sticking through it and being like, okay, you can say what you want, but I'm going to keep working at this thing. And so that's when I was really inspired to get involved, as much as I could. And now I'm here, which is crazy for me, but really me and John are just two, kids who grew up skating together. But I've just watched what you've done over the years with the insane process with Blake Doyle by, I kind of want you to explain the difference between the process for getting Blake Doyle built and then what our project that we're working on now, and the difference between the two of them and why is that significant?
Yeah, let me get into that. But first, I'll just touch on what you were saying about, like people are like, what's this guy doing? He's out there, in a suit or what, whatever, things like that. I guess I just felt like I didn't have any credibility at the time. I'm not saying I have a bunch of credibility now, but for these people to take you seriously, I think you have to, I felt like I needed to present myself in a certain way for them to take me serious. But I bring that up to say that I think like when you're working on something that's bigger than yourself, that you really believe in, not that I didn't care about what people thought about me or like what people were saying about me or things like that, because I did. But when you're working on something bigger than yourself, it doesn't really matter as much. Yeah. So I think there's a lot to that because it takes the emphasis off of yourself. So it's like we were talking to that group the other day, and so many kids I think struggle with anxiety, depression, things like that, and a lot of that's very real. But for me, I think focusing on something outside of yourself and bigger than yourself could really help.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so your other question was, what's the difference between this skate park and the skate spot we're working on? Well, so the park over there, we started raising funds for in like 2015, and we had initially we were gonna raise all the funds and build it, and we ended up making I guess a compelling enough case to the city, so we started getting some public funds. And when you get public dollars, you have to go through a public procurement and bid process, meaning like we had hired a designer, we had a design, we had hired a landscape architect, and we had a design for that. But because there's public dollars, the city's wasn't able to spend those public dollars on this design that was privately funded. Right. So we had to go through this bid process, which makes things take a lot longer, makes things way more expensive. And that's part of the reason why it took so long. It actually, when we were getting pretty close and we had the funds we needed, the city decided they really wanted that to be phase one of this Hollis Williams project. So they wanted to redesign it in a way to where it would fit in with this larger 18 block, 110 acre linear park and kind of be like the big feature at the southern end of the park, which is really cool. And, we'll talk about that later. But so the difference with the spot we're working on now is we were blessed with some funding from the Frisk Foundation. Andy was able to connect with a lady named Melissa Winkler that works for the Frisk Foundation. This awesome lady named Miss Dottie that actually passed away recently, and they ended up believing in our mission and in our vision and gave us funding to build this park. And so since we're going to the city and we have the funding, we're able to do what's called a stewardship agreement with the city, meaning that they're just going to provide the land for us to build it on. They're going to require us to do community engagement meetings and really understand what the neighborhood and what the community wants. But instead of having to go through this public procurement process, which can increase the price maybe by, it might be twice as much. It might be more. They're going to treat us as a private developer, meaning we can hire who we want to design it, who we want to build it. We can receive in-kind donations, like if somebody wants to give us concrete at cost or rebar or help with landscaping, things like that. So it's an opportunity for us to do a lot with a relatively little. And, in our city with over 100 parks, that it's so hard for it's very difficult for the city to maintain all these parks because it's so incredibly expensive. So I think this model of a stewardship agreement and kind of giving some of the power back to the public, these neighborhood associations, nonprofit organizations and businesses to really kind of take ownership and take stewardship of their parks and be a part of the process, I think could be really cool and make a really meaningful difference in our city. If you help spearhead something, if you're involved in the design, you're involved in the fundraising, every aspect of it, like if you pay for something, you're going to take better care of it. So, we hope to be a template for other organizations that, for instance, with the Hollis Williams Park, it's a 1.3 mile, 18 block linear park that could be a $300 million project ultimately. Well, the city has $40 million, which is a great start. But it's going to be a very long-term project. So for instance, like if we have these other groups who can kind of take ownership, whether it's a group of disc golfers or mountain bikers or whatever it is, it's kind of like the zipper model versus the button model. If we can have these awesome, authentic spaces,
different spots,
the linear part will more naturally fill in, and that can be, maybe something that's more publicly funded.
This is a game changer, people. I mean, it really is for skateboarding. It sets a template for other people to do this process as well in their city. But like you said, not just skateboarding. Anyone that is really, has a passion that, like you said, disc golf is a great example. We've met several times with those guys at input meetings, and they want to do these things too. And so it's really exciting to have, maybe it's not a hack, but it's a way forward that is going to mitigate so much red tape trying to get these things done. So, and I have to say too, this is the project we're working on now, the new skate spot is, it's tough to go out and raise money for it, but we were willing to do that and bring that to the city. And even in the Parks and Rec meeting we had recently, the one there where they gave us the green light to do our public input meetings. Remember, it was Tim Kinsella, I think, that said, he was like, so you want to pay for the spot, you just need the spot to do it on. Am I missing something here? Remember that?
Yeah.
And we were like, no, that is exactly what we're doing. Yeah. And we told him the story about, Russell Stark that's on our board, about his son Avery, and the reason we want to build these spots is to give more access to kids in their local neighborhoods rather than having to travel across town if they don't have a car or they can't get a ride. They're on their bikes, they're on their skateboards, crossing streets can be dangerous. And that's one of the big reasons we want to do this, also to honor Avery's life. And that's a huge part of the story with this. And, that's when the kind of the light bulb I saw go off with Parks and Rec being like, oh, I can kind of see what you guys are excuse me, trying to do here. Yeah. And we were like, yeah, That's what we've been saying the whole time. So,
and skateboarding is kind of how we got started, skateboarding, forgotten youth. But I think like as Upward Intuition evolves, we want to push for public spaces in general that people love. So it's not something that's designed specifically for skateboarding. We want to design parks where families can gather. And, like as a skater, if you were going to go film a trick or something, you're probably not going to want to go do it in something that looks like a skate park anyways. And so, going and experiencing like some of these parks where there's just little pockets for moms, dads, kids, multiple, kind of ways you could use it or activities. But yeah, having parks with, authenticity and a lot of thought put into the design and, how they'll be used, rather than what happens now a lot is you go through a catalog and say, we want that playground, and they plop it in a neighborhood with, a lot of plastic, some bright colors, put some mulch around it. And there's a place for that. I'm not saying they're not important. My kids enjoy them, but I feel like we can do a lot better, especially, one of the most special things about our city is having so many parks. So I think we have a real opportunity here, and it'll just be cool to see what we can do collaborating with the city and with other organizations, over the next like 5, 10, 20 years.
Yeah. Oh, that's something I forgot from earlier. I was trying to say we raised the money to build this first spot, but by the proof of concept here, we would love to have, obviously not have to fund every single one of them, or if an organization wants to get something like this done, that's the further conversation, is because it would be nice to have more support from the city or the county, which is something that we're, now we have projects where, which this is awesome for our future. People are coming to Upward Intuition to help understand how to get this process done, like people from the county.
Yep.
And we're able to go, okay, well, especially if you have someone that is willing to put in the funds, we can help facilitate how to get this done and put the right people together to do it.
Yep.
Because Upward Intuition doesn't have an infinite source of money to keep doing this. If we did, it would be awesome, because we would just keep doing the same thing we're doing. Yep. And if someone wants to give us an infinite source of money, you can check out our website at upwardintuition.org and send us an email.
I mean, what better way to make your mark on a community than to give to a place where kids are going to play, where families are going to feel a sense of togetherness, where friends are going to feel like they can come and belong, and I feel like, as you're talking about moms and parents also coming to the skate park, I think a big reason for that is because it is so clean, it's so well kept, and that's part of what our plans are with a stewardship agreement. A huge thank you needs to go out to Brian Wilson for coming out to Blake Doyle.
Yeah, we got to make sure we talk about Brian today.
He deserves almost a whole episode.
And the other people that he's kind of brought up to help as well. There's a lot of volunteers now, and he set the standard, and people, it's like he posted a video today or yesterday, and he was like, he got to the skate park at 5 a.m. just like he does every morning. But someone had cleaned the park the night before because they watch his videos and they go, you know what? If Brian shows up here in the morning, I'm going to have this place spotless. And he gets there and he's just like, sweet, I'll make a funny video now. It's awesome. So, and we're losing him. He's moving to Texas, and we will miss him so much. And we love you, Brian.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, like whether it's monetary or time, like Brian's given hundreds, if not thousands of hours to being at that park, committing himself to keeping that park clean. So moms like me, dads, skaters, little kids, I mean, I've seen 2-year-olds out there, can come to that park because it looks spotless. I'm looking out the window right now and it is spotless. And that's a big reason that people will come to a park. I've been to plenty of parks where I'm like, I'm not taking you back here, kid, because it's filthy.
sketchy. Yeah.
It looks sketchy. And I have no problem taking my kids to Blake Doyle. But, there's a huge fabric and reasons to why that is. And Brian Wilson's a big reason. This board, Upward Intuition, our volunteers are huge reasons to why that is. And it's a huge honor to have the trust from the city. We've proven that we will take care of what we've committed to. We've proven that these parks are going to be vibrant places, safe places, and going to stay that way for years to come. But people should know that it takes a ton of work in the background to keep it that way.
And just thinking about Brian, it's pretty interesting to see how one person can really change a culture.
Tremendous.
The park was kind of going right when we opened. We had some challenges and some issues. We started having some tags, a lot of trash, things like that. And, people were noticing. Brian came out and just made a commitment to start taking care of it every day, and people would see it. People, maybe at first were like, oh, is this guy he's just doing it for a little bit and then he's going to stop. He kept doing it. So now, we have this whole culture of skaters over there. If they saw somebody leave some trash, they'd probably say, hey man, please pick that up. And so now the city has this trust in us, and because we have this vision of having these spots all over the city, they're able to trust us to go ahead and do this first one that hopefully is going to lead to spots all over the city. And really, you could trace that back to Brian. If Brian wasn't doing what he was doing, would the city be open to letting us, allowing us to build at these other parks?
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
So yeah, I guess we'll never know.
He was undeniable. Thank you a million times.
Undeniable is a good word.
Yep.
So
yeah. Okay, what's next? I wanted to kind of go into detail too about, this new spot, and the way we were talking about the difference between it and Blake Doyle. Blake Doyle is a traditional skate park. It's amazing. But we don't intend on building just your typical skate park at these new spots. It's something that we want to match to the environment, make really beautiful, use super high quality materials that are going to last a really long time. They're going to outlast the playgrounds.
That's another thing to probably note real quick. These playgrounds you see throughout the city, I think there's 69 of them. They typically last 12 years.
And how much do they cost typically?
In the maybe $300,000-$400,000 range.
That's a lot of money.
A lot.
We've raised, I'll be clear with this. We, after vetting a bunch of different designers and going through a really fun process of figuring that out, we found the right designer at Primary Concrete and figured we could build this spot for $250,000. And the lady, Melissa Winkler, that I met and, advocated for us to get that grant through, she's an assistant to Dottie Frist. And Dottie heard about Avery's story, heard about our mission, and was like, let's do it. And they are from Nashville, Tennessee. They are not in Pensacola, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. So someone from outside of our community has the heart and is willing to invest in Pensacola's future. That's a pretty clear signal that this is a really special place. And at the input meeting in the future, there's a couple different goals. One is to invite our city in and say, we want you guys to be a part of this project. We're building it for you. We want to build it with you. We want your input on what needs to go there. And we want to show you how beneficial this place can be. First of all, for the skaters, when you show up, we're going to have different pictures of different features in the park that I think it's important for them to point out the ones they want the most. Yep. There's going to be the younger kids that will need stuff. There's going to be the older guys like us that also want certain things that are very specific. They all want the curb. They want to, which is the funniest thing because it's the most basic, thing, but you don't have these perfect double-sided curbs that everyone skates now. Yep. We want to know this stuff and give them a chance to say, we want this one just like this one in Texas I skated or whatever it may be. And we're taking that input all into consideration. So when we use every penny we can and squeeze it out of the money we have, we build something that is exactly what the people want here, but also the way this place looks between landscaping, between each thought out visual of how it looks. We're thinking about the people, the residents in the neighborhood as well. You don't want just another big pile of concrete in there.
Right.
It could be the catalyst, just like Blake Doyle is for the entire area. Something that is beautiful, that's a hub, and for the main park. But I want to get in with you about what we're doing with East Hill Neighborhood Association.
Yep.
Applying for grants together, because the vision for this is, yes, we can build an awesome skate spot, but how can we enrich this park as a whole?
Right.
And I think this idea goes into like what you were talking about earlier. It's like a template for, you want to put a skate spot somewhere, you're just going to jam a skate spot in the middle of a city park. But what else can you do with other organizations in your city to make it a grander idea as a whole?
Yeah.
And put money into that park to make it something that's beneficial for all the businesses around there, all of the foot traffic that people are going to start spending there, the residents, the home prices going up because of the way that it affects an area and becoming an iconic spot, especially this one being in East Hill. I think this park could be like a real icon in Pensacola that is like, what is this? This is a new level that has obvious influence. That's like, this is not something people have done before. It looks new. It looks smart. It looks beautiful. It's thought about. So
I think you're totally right. I mean, it's going to be an attraction for residents and non-residents. And we've carefully studied the neighborhood. There's a number of schools in the neighborhood, 4 or 5 schools. There's churches, there's businesses. All of them are active users or passive, but all of them use that park in a way. All of those users drive by it. And the beautiful thing about the partnership with East Hill Neighborhood Association and their engagement with us is that they've told us ways that they want to use the skate park. They want to use the skate spot. And I think, it's a beautiful marriage of their farmers markets, their makers markets that they hold there already, and it's only going to enhance their ability to attract people to those events. It's going to strengthen the fabric of the community, no doubt. And my hope is that the schools will be able to use aspects of the park for, whether it's recreational activities, PE class, hey, let's go teach math out at the park in the little amphitheater area, or let's talk about angles at the skate park. How great is it to incorporate learning with the skate park? I think Wild Oak would be a perfect partnership in that regard.
Well, we will be bringing them out there once this is built, and they'll be skating it.
Yeah. I mean, if you go to that park for one of East Hill Neighborhood Association's events, whether it's a 5K or a farmer's market or a concert, I mean, you feel like you're at home there. I don't even live there, but I want to because of the vibrancy there that they've invested, and now we get to invest in as well. I mean, I'm just imagining the kids that are going to come there, the adults, the parents, the retired folks too. I think it's going to be a vibrant place for them as well. Walking paths, playgrounds, benches. I mean,
we've talked to East Hill Neighborhood Association and asked them from the get-go. It was like, these are the guys that use this park the most for their markets, and we're proposing to build something there. So we want to make sure that they're cool with it, first of all, and we don't interrupt what they're trying to do. Rather, we can enhance what they're trying to do. We're like, what needs to be there? They're like, I mean, we just need electrical outlets. We need, more seating. We need, if there's any shading, there's a list of things that can go there that would enhance their experience. And any visitor, any vendor in the park, all these people bring all their tents and sell stuff there. And they need these amenities that are pretty simple, but it takes a lot of money, and it takes, so that's something that we foresaw when we were building the spot. And we're like, well, if we're going to put something here, how do we partner with them and hopefully raise funds to do all the things, rather it be in phases or all at one time. So when you talk about the grants that we're trying to apply for, and also just fundraising in the future, how we want to go about that.
Yeah, we're getting ambitious and partnering with East Hill to apply for an Impact 100 grant. Working on that process now, and it's very laborious, detailed, but our hope, like you said, is maybe some shade structures, some landscaping that's really going to make the skate spot fit in to the park and make it look like it belongs there. Whether it's grant opportunities or private donors, businesses whose patrons are in the park naturally, get in contact with us and find out about the opportunities that are available, because schools want to use the park a certain way. Businesses have employees that maybe want to enjoy their lunch at the park. And there's so many ways for businesses, schools, private donors to leave their mark on the park.
Yep. I have to say something too. When we first started talking about writing grants or grant writing or whatever you want to call it, and Laura had joined our board, we were talking to her about that. Like, is that something that you're experienced in? And she was like, I actually love writing grants. And I was like, you are crazy.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe a lot of it.
But I was also like, thank God. Yeah. Because these are the things that me and John suck at. So thank you for getting involved in every way. We kind of want to wrap this up. John, if you want to cover a few things.
Yeah. So what Laura and Andy were just talking about, like, we want to have everyone involved. We want to get everyone's input because we believe this park could set the bar for what we could do in the future. And we think this model and this template that we're kind of creating, with the stewardship agreement, could be something that we could use throughout the city, and maybe even other cities can use it. But we're hosting a community engagement meeting Wednesday, May 28th at the Borough, which is catty corner to Cordova Square, the park that we're looking at. So we're collaborating with East Hill Neighborhood Association, Pensacola Parks and Recreation, and just want you to come out and share your ideas, share your concerns, share what you would like to see in the park and how you would like to use it. And we want to take all that input into consideration when we go back and work on our concepts. And then we're going to do another input meeting, hopefully in June, and actually share those concepts once we've gotten all the feedback and taken that into consideration.
Yep. Just to pile on that, I have to reiterate about the way that the funding came from a source in Nashville for this spot. And, we're going to be unveiling this thing to Pensacola, but we also want to invite everyone to be involved with this in any way that they can. Whether it's volunteering your time with us, if you want to get involved with this spot, if you're able to give financially, if you're, like you said earlier, if you're a business and can give in-kind donations, whether it be landscaping materials or construction materials, these are things that are going to help us utilize every penny that we have to make this park better and better. With the design itself, I mean, we've put our effort into it as much as we can, and now we're calling to Pensacola to say, like, this is your project as well. And so the outcome of it is going to be based on the community involvement. So please, reach out to us, whether it be our website, upwardintuition.org. You can email us. You can come to any of our board members. I mean, what's the best way to get in touch with us? Instagram, whatever. Yeah,
Instagram is very active, and Facebook as well.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So May 28th, 6 p.m. at the Borough. Thank you guys so much. Is that it? John?
Oh, God.
Last
You
word.
always got something. Maybe a quote.
I feel like I have. The obstacle is the way. That's the Ryan Holiday book. Yeah, I just want to reiterate that we really want to make this first one awesome, because we want to set the bar and demonstrate what's possible. And because we'd like to see these all over the city, and to make it awesome. It's just important for, if you're in the neighborhood, if you live nearby, like, please come out and get involved and, just be a part of it. We're grateful for the opportunity to get to do this. I think I could probably speak for Andy too, but like our, middle school selves would just be so psyched, to think that we're getting to do this as adults. And, this thing that we loved as kids. And so, yeah, really excited to have Laura on board. She's able to, kind of take our vision and our mission and really help with the execution and move us forward, which is something that, we were kind of struggling with. Just, we all have full-time jobs and kids and families and things like that. So I'm just so excited for the future, what we can all accomplish, and just want to invite people, to come get involved and be a part of the movement. I don't know. I mean, yeah, just get involved. We want you to be a part of it. Yeah.
We'll see you all May 28th.
See.
Thank you to our extremely special, sweet guest, Laura Branch. All right, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cool.
You guys just stay there for a second. We grab a few photos.
Yeah.
As well, just kind of stay in your spots. Great stuff.
Grant, it's so good to see you like sitting there and like nodding your head in affirmation.
I was
Thank
gonna
you.
ask you if that would be helpful too.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
It's so helpful.
It means we know we're getting a good
I'm not just
clip or
shot.
shot.
I actually am. Like at the beginning, I think something you said, I got chilled. I was like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Sweet. Like Mark, good.
Sweet.